Recording. Okay. Well, now we are moving on. We are going to continue on with the project. I don't think there's much need for introduction at this point. We're going to go ahead and insert our gantry. And if you remember, we before we created an assembly, or we created a configuration rather, on this guy. So if we right click and go to our component properties, we can select the gantry configuration. Hit OK, and you'll notice that'll be ever so slightly longer. So, with any luck, it is going to fit right in here. Yep, where to go? And there we are. And with any luck, we got it right. And look at over here, there shouldn't be any gap. And it looks like, yeah, we got it. We did it. So next order of business, I think we're going to do, before we start on the carriage and the slide and all that, I think we're going to try to get the rest of this cleaned up just a little bit. You know, these big ugly squares are blocking me, and you'll notice it's not just a looks thing, but if we slide back, you'll notice that we're giving up a lot of our travel right there, and our router is going to sit right over here somewhere, and we're giving up quite a bit of our travel, and um, you know, that's space right here that we cannot use because of this current state of affairs. So we're going to go ahead and fix that. And so I'm going to open up the riser. And let's just go ahead and square off that. And let me show you our solution for this. Whoops, actually what we're going to do is we're going to go and edit the original sketch. And we're just going to do something like that. Then we're going to use a tool here called Trim Entities. And that's basically what you get. Now obviously we have new dimensions that we have to make. So let's go ahead and just remind it that that's that dimension right here. And let's just call that 6 inches. And let's call this leg right here 4 inches. Now unfortunately, something that we did is since we are editing a feature that's high up in the tree, we don't get to see our features down there, so we're going to have to back out of it before we can we can see how that works there. We're going to say about 2 inches right there, and now we are fully defined. We're good to go now. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Looks like we could actually do it a little bit more. It's probably not the most direct route of doing this, but oh, come on, there we go. Yep, not 4, 3. What? So I just, haha, I just messed up. I made a mistake. I typed something in the wrong box. That's supposed to be 3/4 of an inch. That's funny. Hit a sketch. There we go. All right. Now, if we go back and look at this, yeah, that's looking a lot better. We could probably center those up there, and or we can mess with it a little bit more. But for now, we're going to call that good. In fact, I think I'm going to want to move these back just a little bit more. So let's go ahead and call that, 7.75 maybe. Let's see if that's not too far. Yeah, okay. That's quite a bit better. And let's see here. Let's take that down to 5 inches. And let's take that to 3.5. Now, let's go ahead and draw some more lines. We're going to edit the sketch again. Now we're going to pretty this up later. We're just kind of getting it more into the kind of where we need to be. And we keep on losing our, when we use that trim tool, we keep on losing our dimensions there, but that's okay. And let's call that a 4.5. And it says we're still not fully defined. I think it's because of this guy right here. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit of a, make that a little proud there. So let's try that. Okay, so we're getting somewhere now. We're obviously we're not 100% there. And in fact, I'm probably going to replace that with a nice curve or something like that in the future. We'll give it some lines, you know, like a sports car or a pretty woman or something like that. We will dress that up a little bit. But for now, I think that this gets us a lot closer to where we want to be. I'm going to go ahead and save all. There we go. Now, doesn't that look a whole lot better? Oh man, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're really starting to get somewhere. So yeah, that's nice because all the way at the forward, see if we're at our kind of our forward stop there, our bit's going to be sticking out to be right around in here somewhere, and all the way at the back, all the way at the back. If we go right there, we're about to bottom out. You know, we got just a little bit of unused table area right back there, but that's not a big deal. Uh, we're going to have, this is 32 inches, remember, from here to here. And so 32 minus whatever that little bit is, I'm guessing that we're going to be probably north of 2 feet on this one. So I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling just fine. So next step is we're going to need to do something about linear motion, right? Before we go on and tackling the gantry, I think it would probably be a good idea to do something about about this and get these in the works. And so, what my plan is to put a lead screw right down through there, just right down right there. We'll connect it to the gantry right here and run through there, and we'll have a motor mounted on the back of here. Now, I am going to do a dual motor setup on this one. My reasoning is, well, I got quite a few reasons, but I really do like a dual motor setup on the long axis. And my reasoning for that is I know that a lot of people will put a bar underneath and they'll do a single lead screw in the middle, and I've seen them, and there's always racking issues, and the machine does not behave the same when the carriage is cutting near the side of the machine as when it's cutting near the center. It's just there's always the racking issue, and it adds extra vibration to it. I like being able to constrain each side independently. Plus, this being a little bit lighter duty machine, I think we're going to need it. So, excuse me. So that is that. That's the way we're going to do it on this one. If you don't like it, you can write your congressman. But I think I think that that's what we're going to try on this one for now. So, a couple things that we need to do, and this is going to be a lot of trial and error, just kind of fitting things around. I think first off is we're going to need to make this a little bit taller. I don't think we're going to have quite enough room here to make us happy. Another thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make some room right here for a NEMA 23 motor. And I think so we're going to have to probably extend this edge out a little bit. And I was anticipating that. Not a big deal. We're here, we're having fun. So let's go ahead and we're going to close out the risers for a little bit because we're not going to mess with that for a little bit longer. And let's go ahead and open up this part. Now, something I can do is I can actually open part in place, and I can edit it right here. And this is actually pretty handy in some cases, and I do tend to do both. I tend to sometimes I'll edit my part right here. Sometimes I will just open it up. And it just kind of depends on the context. But in this case, this makes seeing things quite nice. One downside is, especially on the computer I'm using now, is it runs a little bit slower because you have all the parts open, and it's have to doing the extra rendering. But that's not a huge deal. Excuse me. Okay. First thing I think that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make a block for our riser. So I think we closed our riser a little premature. I don't think we're actually quite ready for this just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that part. I'm going to go to File, New, Part. We're going to work off the front plane. That's about right. I'm going to say 2 inches from now, for now, but we'll see. I might change that. We'll see. And I'm guessing that we're probably going to want that to stick out, probably about 1.6 inches. This. Whoops, nope. Not, well, maybe. We'll see here. I'm going to use a little trick here. I'm going to select the midpoint right here. I'm going to select the midpoint on this one while holding the Shift key. Yeah, select midpoint. Select midpoint. No, no, I don't think that's going to... Huh, didn't work as I thought it would. What I can do Try not to overthink it here. There we go. And I'm going to put some nice little fillets in here, just because I like to, and I like to make it look nice. Okay. And to keep it all in one sketch, I'm just going to go ahead and... Now, I do not know... I do not know what my dimensions... this thing's going to hold our ball screw. We are on... I have not looked up ball screws on GrabCAD yet. Let's try... what was it? The LM 1610, I think it was. Let's try the 1605. Okay, maybe the LM was a not the correct RM. RM. Okay. I'm really bad about remembering stuff like that. All right, and actually, if you'll notice, this is perfect. And if I do a 1610, I wonder if I'll get that one right there. And it even says China ball screw, RM 1225. Okay. I'm going to go with this model right here. Actually, you know what? It's the same one. These all look very similar, don't they? Oh, it looks like it's a set, so that's awesome. So let's go ahead and China ball screws. And there it is. So basically we want that to fit inside of the part that we are making right now. I'm going to go ahead and save this as go ahead and convert it. All right. Awesome. Now this is a 1605 where I'd prefer to use the 1610. Just in case you're wondering, the 16 is the diameter of the screw. The 10 or the 5 is the millimeters per turn. So for reasons I'll explain later, like the 1610 quite a bit better. But dimensionally, these are going to be the same, so we're not going to worry too much about that. And oh, we're going to do some really cool stuff here because you're going to see a couple cool tricks here. This is neat. So let's go ahead and evaluate and find out how big of a hole we need to make, which is 27.8 millimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 28 millimeter hole. Where'd my SolidWorks go? I'm in Solid. Oh, Alex, you're a dummy. Okay. Welcome to my world. I have to deal with this every day. This is the brain I'm working with. It's amazing I get anything done. Okay, 28 millimeters. So give it a little bit of a, kind of an interference, or not an interference, a clearance fit. And I think I want this one to be a metric dimension. So I'm going to do a little bit of trial and error here and say 20 millimeters, but it's probably going to be more than that. Oh, you know what? That looks pretty dang good. Okay, okay. Yeah, that'll work. And then, of course, 1 inch. And all right, that's looking pretty good. So another thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a circular sketch pattern. Now, before we do that, actually, let's go ahead and take a look and find out uh, what our distances are. Excuse me. All right. So it looks like 19 millimeters to center. I was trying to figure out. So 5.5 millimeter and 38 millimeter. Okay. Oops, did it again. 38. Do a circular sketch pattern. I'll say that's our center. All right, that is fully defined now. And, okay, now we are ready for our circular sketch pattern. Don't know if we have to do... It's been a little while since I've done this, so bear with me. There we go. So, I can't remember. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's take a look here. Then there's also instances to skip. And that should be it. Okay, that's going to be 3/4 of an inch thick. And look at that. Beautiful. And that is just what we wanted. So we're going to go ahead and save this. And we're going to call it ball nut mount. Oops. Well, okay. We'll laugh about it later. Okay, now I'm thinking that we're going to need more space down here to fit that guy. Now on this one I am not going to make that coincident, I'm just going to make it parallel. Now obviously we need to have room down here to clear. You know what, for now I am going to make it coincident. Change my mind. And what we're going to do is we're going to offset that. Let's call it 3 inches. Put it right in the middle. Or close to the middle. That'll work. Now when we go back, we should have we have it on one side but not the other. There we go. All right. So let's take a look and see kind of where we're going to need to put that. So that center line is going to need to be right about there. Clearly, we don't have enough room. I don't think that I don't think we can get away with something we could do is potentially save us a little bit of space. We don't have a whole lot of room to work with, but we could potentially move this up and put it kind of up in between the two of them there. And it looks like, I didn't think we'd have space for it, but it looks like as long as we don't get too aggressive with it, we should be fine. So I kind of like that idea. I kind of like the idea of putting that up there. So let's go ahead and change that up right there. Let's see here. What the way we'll do that is we're going to mess with two things. First off, the mates that we have right there, we're going to edit this mate right here, and we're going to reduce that. Two 2.5, no, actually 2.4 looks correct. So I have that sitting right in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to edit this part in place. Not that one, actually. We're going to edit this sketch for the holes. These guys right here. Let's take that down to 2.5 and see where we're at. So that looks like it's getting pretty close, and you know, it's not a European car. We don't have to crunch everything right up next to each other, but I do like the idea of having some space there, or having it kind of fit tightly up in there. Now, something I could potentially see that's a kind of an annoyance is getting to those screws in there. And if we put the ball nut in there, I wonder if the flange might be a little too wide. Now we can always space that out a little bit more, give it some more room in there, but and maybe we'll do that, but we could do that later. Let's go ahead and just see where we're at. Okay, I'm satisfied. That that'll work just fine. Let's see here. Now this is an excellent opportunity to edit that in place. And look at that, it even makes it transparent so we can kind of see where we need to be. Okay. Obviously we need to extend that out just a little bit. There we go. And I would like that to be just a little bit taller. Yeah, I'm thinking that that's looking pretty good. Yeah, I'm thinking that looks just fine. Go ahead and hit OK. Now it's going to rebuild. Okay, next thing we need to do is we're going to make a kind of a generic hole for this, just for now, and we'll move on and we'll come back to it in a little bit. But what we're going to do is we're just going to put a hole that we're going to use as reference, and later we'll come back to it. So don't think that this is the final solution, but you'll see kind of why we'd want to do this, and it's going to make things a little bit easier for us. Looks like before we do that, notice this view gives us a very nice way to see things. And if I hit evaluate and I measure, I wonder if it'll let me. Oh, I bet it will. This dimension is going to come in handy. A nice even 390 millimeters. So let's go ahead and hang on to that dimension, or that because that's going to be handy. And then there's going to be another one. This one's not going to be nearly as nice, I don't think. But what if we go from here to here. And see, we got a 38.10 millimeters. So we might go through and change that dimension to be more metric. I'm not sure just yet. Let's see if see what happens if we get a nice number from here to here. See, it's still kind of a nasty little fraction thing in the conversions. But that's okay. The 390 I'm happy with. So we'll have to change a couple things. First off, I think I'm going to bring this back down. I'm going to extend that a little bit. Let's go ahead and take this out to 5 inches. And we're going to extend that back down to where we can see it a little bit better. And I believe that we should be able to change that to a metric dimension and have it come out okay. Let's go ahead and gas at 60 millimeters. Actually, that shortened it. That was the wrong direction. Let's try again. So 60, well, let's try for full 100. 3.94, that's quite a bit. That might stick down too far. I probably got a little overzealous there. Okay, now it's still 1 inch from the bottom there, but I bet you, I think that dimension's gonna work out better now. .4. Come on. $752. 376. So it should be 376. Oh, that's the minimum distance. Dang it. Center distance. 780. 390. That's right. 390. Having trouble here. And 42.4. Okay. I'm just going to call this 1 inch for now. Like I said, this we'll actually use this later, but this is mostly just to be a reference. And so 390 millimeter. 42.4 millimeter. And then we're going to go, oh, we've got to edit our part. Then we can do a feature and a cut. Oh, nuts. I don't know if I can move it or not. I created a part. Okay, so hopefully you can see what I did there and understand. I created a sketch inside of the assembly, not inside of the part like I should have. So I'm going to have to delete that. And I'm going to have to go back here and make sure that we can just open the part in position. Right there we go. And let's try this again. Okay, so now we're sketching inside of the part, and that was my mistake earlier. So 390 millimeter. 42.4, I think it was. Oh, and forgot to put in millimeter. I think so. That's the amount of inches up there. So 42.4 millimeter. Man, I probably should have just gone all metric on this. I really should have. That's okay. We're going to go through all, meaning basically that just all the way through. And there we go. Now, of course, we got to do that on the other side. So let's go ahead and edit this feature and gonna put in the center line so we can mirror it. Mirror entities, entities to mirror, mirror about. Now we got one on the other side. Bingo. Okay, now we should be staring right down the middle, and we should be looking right through the hole, and that should line up just right. Okay. What happened? Why did we lose that? Did we cancel it for some reason? Oh, I see. The sketch is there, but the there we go. That's what was going on. So, hello. There it is. And now one thing that I did not do, I thought I did, but I didn't do, is I didn't tell it to show that hole for all the configurations. So we're going to go back here to our front support. And when we edit this feature, it should be all configurations. That is interesting. Don't know why it's not showing up on the other one when it should be. For some reason it's suppressed. I'm not sure why. There we go. Boy, it's always the little things, huh? I don't know why that took nearly that long, but there we go. So now we have a place for a ball screw, and we got a place for our stepper motors. And I think we're going to take a break. And so thank you, and stay tuned.